So how it came about that I ended up reporting it was, so there was an incident that my son was accused of at school, which opened an investigation. Um, just to clear that up, that investigation was done. Um, they found that the other child was being inappropriately touched at home and was doing that at school, and my son got caught up in the middle of it somehow. But it was all cleared up. My son didn't do anything. All right, that's that. Ooh, I went to the school and I said, listen, there's something going on at home. Like, this guy set me on fire. Um, I don't find a way out. I feel like this is my only chance, my only opportunity to speak up, because I'm thinking, like, okay, so they have one investigation. Why don't I just report the other? You understand? Because I don't have a support system. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. Yes, I know that now there is help. I know that there's avenues, but I didn't have those. You know how right now we have TikTok to be able to open up, and the world exposes each other and all this stuff. We didn't have that back then. So I was just stuck with what I knew and whatever my trauma allowed me to continue to deal with. One of the things that played a big part in this was the fact that I suffered from the Affleck effect. Affleck effect. I'm not sure how it is, but basically it's like when you don't show emotion or whatever. And I think for my counselor, she basically told me that it looks like if I don't care, because like I don't put this outward emotion. And that's one of the things I struggle with, because I grew up in trauma. Like, one of the things that you had to teach yourself is how to keep yourself composed, because if you cry, you're gonna get your ass beat. So like, it was hard for me. So I guess that's one of the things that kind of like played out, where I had to go into therapy, like emotional therapist or whatever. Like, now I think I'm too emotional. That's how I feel. So that's one of the things that really played a big part in this. So they come to help me, and instead of removing him, they take me and my kids out of our home and take us to a shelter. I'm living in this housing apartment that I've waited for 4 years. So I asked him to leave so I can go back to the apartment with my children. And I already know a lot of people's gonna be like, well, why didn't you stay in the shelter? Why did you go back to the... We waited 4 years. These are my babies. I waited 4 years for an apartment for them. So I'm thinking that he's going to do it because you're seeing that we're in a situation where we could lose our kids. When I got there, he was still there. So the shelter told CYS, rightfully so, that I was going back to my home. So I guess that came about, that I was choosing him over my children. So I guess by the time I got home, half an hour later, my kids are coming down the stairs and I'm going to feed them. And like I said, he was at the house. So I continued to do my routine of cooking for the kids, cleaning up the house, and doing whatever, because that's how I naturally respond. Like, trauma or not, I just keep trying to move forward. And I'm going to feed them, and CYS is at the door with 2 cops. And, they said, he's an endangerment, and we're going to take your children, give you 15 months and all this stuff. And then they had me sign the stuff. I was so in shock that I don't believe I cried. I just kept moving, because I'm like, all right, now I'm presented with this issue, but I'm not catching on the whole fact that I'm being viewed as this woman now that has chosen a man over her kids. So as the timeline goes on, I'm trying to work with him to get our kids. I'm trying to work with him. But he's missing appointments. He's missing this and that, to the point where we had one visitation together, and then that's it. I cut it off because I could see that there was no progress for him. I was bound to lose my kids staying around him. Like, I was not going to choose a man over my kids. Like, not only was I... I guess I was coming into my women mindset. Like, I was growing up as I was experiencing these things, but I still didn't understand. So So the visitations got cut off. I did not want to have no visitations with him. Um, there was no crossover. There, I've got a PFA against him. I moved from Reading, Pennsylvania to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and for my safety, I got a house, I got a car, I got a job. I had two jobs at some point, and I was doing everything I had to do. I was working a third shift job where I had to call in the morning. I was in Lancaster. I had to call in the morning, see if my number came up. No, see if my color came up. And if my color came up that morning, I would have had to drive an hour to Reading, Pennsylvania to go take a piss test to make sure I'm not on drugs, just to drive back to Lancaster. Like, my caseworker wasn't working with me. She wasn't trying to help me. And I'm saying this because it's all hindsight. You understand? Like, people ask how I'm strong or I don't know. I don't know. And this story, I know it's jumble rumble, but if you guys want specifics, just ask me. I haven't shared my story because it's just so much that if I don't explain certain context, people take it to a whole nother level. And I really just want to be a resource for my kids. That's all I've ever wanted to be. Fine, the system felt like I wasn't strong enough to have my kids, or I didn't have the support system to have my kids. Okay, I had to accept that at some point in my life, but I also refused to have my kids convinced that it was a choice I had to make when it was forced upon me, when it was prolonged. Instead of 15 months, they prolonged it for 3 years. That means that they were just trying to find something. You understand? If you go on Google and research and search Rachel Drobnik, CYS, Berks County, you can see that lady was fired for falsifying documents. I have reached out to so many people, and there is not one person that can tell me, okay, we're going to investigate this. They want me to pinpoint exactly where is it that they did me wrong. And when I go to a lawyer tells me, oh, we don't sue CYS. We don't go against CYS. Why? You know they're doing these corrupt things. You know these things are happening. My kids were taken from me and I did everything. I did absolutely everything. There's nothing in this world that I wasn't willing to do. I have documents telling you exactly the progress that I'm making. You know when the progress changed? It was overnight. They didn't like the way. And you know what's crazy? That I bet you I could read it exactly verbatim when it happened. They changed everybody that was helping me, from the counselors to the coaches to anybody that was helping me progress to be a mother and ready to be by myself with these kids. They took them out in one day. They changed every single one in one day, and from there everything started falling apart. You see? Corrupt. So I'm going to keep sharing my story. I don't care how many times I repeat myself about the same thing. I might make a few funny videos here and there, but I'm going to insert when I get in this mindset where I feel like I need to tell my story, because no one's listening, and I'm going to keep saying it. And I hope that I have another page. It's called Looking for Jackson Bishop. And you guys can go ahead and look at that. And I was trying to just share on that page and not on my personal page, but it doesn't really matter where I share it. I just want my son to see, my kids to see that I didn't mean to leave you. I would never. Until this day, I fight just to get 1 second with you, respectfully. Because I want to be a resource. I don't want to be the source of your trauma. I don't want to re-traumatize you. I love you. I will always love you, and I will always seek you. I will always be ready for you for whenever you need me. No matter what anybody tells you, just come straight to me. I promise you. I can tell you anything. I have no secrets. I'm an open book.